Hey everyone, Cahlen here, and today I'm going to show you the spiral garden, basically an update of how things are going. We started with amaranth and planted that all the way around everywhere, and that's been growing for a while. And then we also planted some black lentils, and those came up really fast, and they seem like they're going to do really well, so let's take a look. So here's the spiral garden as viewed from my camp, and just on this edge we find some of the more developed amaranth, and you can see some of it is actually red amaranth, so I think that the very last batch that I threw on there was a new bag of food, and I think it's red amaranth because, well, you see more of it here. So these are a little less developed than those, but generally these are more developed than the rest of the thing. There's a little red one there, and we can also look here because I planted every few inches, every few inches along this ring, I planted several soaked black lentils, and you can see here they are. Here's one group, there's another group, right? And it goes all the way around the entire thing. So here's on the opposite side, and you can see things are more or less developed here, but I wanted to point out this. So this is I think that this is a elm sapling, and these are all over the place. An elm is a tree, and it's actually a very helpful tree. That's how you make gorilla chips that Jesse Tree just did. Made them out of these things when they're still green. You dehydrate them and add oil and salt and spices, and it's pretty much the most delicious thing you've ever had. And then it blows all over the place, as you can see, and dries out, and now it's actually planting the tree again. So it's just, this whole thing is just littered with that. And I did a cleaning last night, so you didn't see very many, but it's serious. It's serious, guys. So this is how I water. We have the faucet there, the thing, access to the well, hose, and then the hose comes around, and basically what I'll do is I'll flood it. So I only do this, every 3 or 4 days is kind of where I'm at right now. Basically I put the hose right here, let it flood down to about there. It seems to be the low point, and then I have to, I'll have to bring it over there eventually, but instead I'll just jump to there, flood this and a little bit of that, then move it there, move it there, move it there, and then just move it. Anyway, so that's basically the watering situation. And it seems to be pretty happy, the amaranth, even, without needing to be watered every day. I think it actually kind of likes to have a few dry days. So we're at the center of the garden, and this is probably one of the most developed amaranth in the garden at this point. There's some close runner-ups, but this one we planted in the very center, the golden giant, or whatever it is. It's some kind of huge amaranth that goes 10 feet tall. And that's almost certainly what that guy is. So my current plan is to basically let all of the amaranth and the lentils now just grow and kind of do their thing. And even though there's big bunches of amaranth and that you might seem like that would be a problem, there's that one, it's gonna eventually when it reaches the point where it's gonna go really fast, and it's going to basically outpace all the ones that are kind of lagging behind, and it's going to shade them from the sun. So I won't even need to weed them, really. That's the goal, right? It's kind of try and set it up so you're doing as little work as possible, right? But if I do need to end up coming in and dealing with some competitors that are too close to each other, I'll probably just cut them, right? Because the roots down in the soil is actually a really good thing, right? It adds structure to the soil, and it also has all kinds of nutrients which it has consolidated, which will be released back into the soil system. But if I pull out the root, then I'm not, I'm taking it out of the system. So anyways, that's the update on the spiral garden. Squash will be another thing that goes in here. It may be my preference to leave it at that and just have those three things. And we also got potatoes going. I did a video about that. We got potatoes in these big buckets here. And then also here, I'll take you out to the buckwheat garden. So out here is the buckwheat rows. They're about 14 feet long. I just came out here with a shovel or a hoe and just scraped it out real quick, and then put a bunch of put the seeds down, and then, which is buckwheat seeds, so it's raw buckwheat groats or whatever it's called. I just threw them pretty liberally into these, and then I put compost on top of them. And then to water it, again, just being lazy and all I have is a hose, I come out and I put the hose on really low and I let it basically flood. This goes downhill and floods right there, and then, you know, this kind of gets saturated because there's a river flowing along it for a little while, and then I just do it to each one. So that's the update on things in the garden as far as kind of like my personal purview. This is the area that I kind of hang out in and put my energy into. Of course, there's the whole other garden, which is a big permaculture garden that's been going for years, decades, probably decades. So, you know, there's a whole lot of that stuff too, and some of my videos will involve that. But if you want to see that part of the garden, then Jesse Boudreau, or I think his channel name is Jesse Tree, or The Life Cultivationist. I'll have a link to his channel, right, if you're on Odyssey. So anyways, he does videos about that. I help him do those videos. Also, just a little teaser, we're going to have a video coming up of harvesting some Hoshu Wu, which is a important Chinese medicine herb, right? So I recommend looking that up. However, you probably won't be able to spell it because I definitely can't, and I've seen the words thousands, well, maybe not thousands, but probably hundreds of times. So anyways, if I remember, I'll put a link to Hoshu Wu so you guys can look that up. But anyways, we'll have a video about that probably today or tomorrow. So anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider sharing it. If you'd like to help me out in a more substantial way, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/gift. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, whether publicly or privately, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/one-on-one. Thanks again for watching.